I really, really, really want to get back into the Kendra situation of it all. Let's wake it up, y'all. So, yesterday on stream, you guys were actually the ones that persuaded me to cover the Kendra stuff, okay? You were the ones that persuaded me to cover it. And I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit hesitant because it's like a new topic that I have to like figure out the lore of. And let me tell you something. My entire TikTok feed has been nonstop Kendra content about her and her psychiatrist. I am so beyond hooked in. I can't even describe it. Not Henry, your beloved. Guys, we've got... Do not call Henry ChatGPT. Why did I keep calling it ChatGPT? You know what the problem is? I've been saying ChatGPT for so long that saying ChatGPT, like, I feel like I have to, like, phonetically say it. You know what I mean? But anyways, my entire fucking For You page has been content about Kendra and her psychiatrist. And also, just want to clarify that I'm a little bit annoyed because I was engaging with Kendra content last night on my TikTok, doing a little bit deep diving. I wake up today. What is my For You page filled with? Literally doxing videos of the psychiatrist. His face, videos of him, you know, all these different things. And I was like, what we're not going to do is that. Like, and people are like feeding into it as well. Like, people are commenting being like, I was seeing a lot of comments being like, Kendra, I get it. And I'm like, guys, first of all, not the point. But I just find it really disturbing, like, his name, as when you see a Kendra video now, like, his name is at the bottom of it as, like, a suggested thing, and it just, like, really pisses me off. God bless that man. And unfortunately, now I do know what he, like, looks like in his profession and where he works and stuff like that. Like, the internet's ability to dox is just fucking insane. But also, this is only because Kendra literally said his name, and everyone's like, she just said the first name. She literally specified that he had an uncommon name. So whenever she's saying his name, it was pretty easy to figure out where, you know, he worked and all the rest. So it makes me really pissed off for her. Now, what I will say is my entire TikTok For You page, aside from doxing videos of him, has been moments from Kendra's Instagram lives or TikTok lives. And my goodness gracious me, I have never seen someone so... I don't know how to finish that sentence, so I'm just going to leave it there. But it's insane. There's a clip where I think someone tells her, I think I might have saved it. I hope I saved it, where they're like, he has a girlfriend since February, and she's like, I don't care. Is it this one? Oh, wait, I think it's this one.
Just ask me out right now. I do not want to hear from him. Like, I had dreams of converting to Islam to be with him, but now I'm like... Oh.
Sorry, this is an even crazier one.
No. What does your family say about this situation? They just want to support me. My cousins are really worried about me. They're, like, reaching out to my mom, being like, is Kendra okay? No, I'm not going to post the 30-minute recording. No, I would not say yes in a heartbeat. Maybe I have to talk about that in the next video, because, like, it does seem like I'm still in love with him, but the more I tell my story, the less I do get in love with him. And come on.
Not inshallah. Everyone's, oh my god, this chat, like, they're feeding her delusions because half of them are trolling and half of them are as in it as what she is. Literally all the comments being like, yes, convert to Islam, girl.
Like, millions of people have seen this story. Like, it'd look a little weird if I went with him.
Millions of people have seen this story. It would be kind of weird if I went with him. She's still talking about the possibility of them being together, by the way.
For outing him to TikTok.
Girl. But anyways, I saw that I was getting tagged a lot in this video.
My name's
So I want to go through it. It is a psychiatrist talking about their opinion of the scenario. I'm going to be blind reacting to this because people tagged me in it, and as you know, I like going through it with you, so let's go. Everyone chatting had to pay to chat. Are you serious? You bitches better be grateful that this is a free speech platform for you bitches. you wait until the day you piss me off, then you have to pay it. So I want to get to this. Let's blame react.
Welcome to Juan. I'm a board certified psychiatrist, and I want to share my thoughts on this viral video about this woman who discusses falling in love with her psychiatrist and that journey publicly on TikTok. So for context, I did residency in 2019 and I became a full-fledged attending in 2024, and now I'm in private practice. The whole story summarized is that she started seeing the psychiatrist a couple years ago, and she felt like the doctor really listened to her, was warm towards her, was caring towards her, gave her a safe space to speak, but also that he was hot and cold, and that he was warm and empathetic, but then he was also cold and clinical.
Is this him? No. This is not the psychiatrist. This is a different psychiatrist giving his opinion from being a psychiatrist.
And so eventually what had ended up happening was that the patient realized that they were doing Zoom sessions for a couple of years. She saw that there was an opportunity to do in-person sessions. So she took the in-person sessions, and she says that when she hugged the psychiatrist, he kind of just gave her a pat on the back.
Poor guy.
And then after this had happened, she had told the psychiatrist that he had
Can the video be turned up? It surprisingly is at max.
That she loved him, and he didn't really know what to say, but then had still said, okay, let's schedule for a follow-up visit. And then this is when the patient starts coming online and then saying that the psychiatrist was pretty much grooming her and in love with her and was trying to facilitate this whole thing.
Also, the fact that she was throwing around the words like survivor and grooming and victim is so fucking dangerous and defamatory, by the way. And I really do wonder if there's a world in which he will come after her legally, because he would have a very great case, specifically because she doxed him.
About that. So that is the story of it. So the question that I've been receiving is this unprofessional? So when I was in residency, this is something that was discussed. What we were told and what we're taught in psychiatry is that if a patient does this, then you don't want to make the patient feel shamed or abandoned for their feelings. Because let's say if a patient comes to me and says the same things, then what I would say would be, okay, let's discuss it. That's interesting. How did these things develop? Do you think this will affect our therapeutic relationship?
So basically doubling down on the fact that he was actually just continuing to do his job, and if anyone was the victim in the scenario, it was him being sexually harassed at work and having to deal with it out of concern of Kendra's mental health.
Explore those with the patient, just like I think the psychiatrist was going to do in these sessions. But it looks like this patient did not give the psychiatrist a chance to do that. I wouldn't immediately dismiss the patient, put them on with a different psychiatrist, because now the patient will feel abandoned. What this is going to do...
Also a great point, because people were like, why didn't he transfer her? And what I will say is that people aren't being realistic here. People aren't being realistic to the fact that she was so deeply attached and obsessed with him that if he would have transferred, she would have either seen it as a token that he transferred her so that they could be together and it wouldn't be like a client one-on-one anymore where he'd be breaking the rules and she would probably stalk him even more, or that she would get like aggressive and kill him or something like that.
Imagine if you're a patient and you disclose something very vulnerable, very truthful to someone, and now they shut you down. So by doing that, I wouldn't do that, because then the patient is going to feel abandoned. They're going to feel rejected.
Yeah.
And now the patient in the future is going to be conditioned that if I tell the truth, then I will be shamed for it. I will be rejected for it. Therefore, it's going to condition the patient to not tell the truth. And this is why we don't just immediately dismiss patients like that. So the psychiatrist was completely in the way that they...
So again, if anything, it's further just proving that the psychiatrist was the one who was actually being incredibly professional and was actually the victim in this.
Handled the interaction. And it's not like this was a first-time visit. They had established a long-standing bond for years. So the psychiatrist must have felt that this was a safe space where they could discuss it with the patient. And it's unfortunate that the patient reacted this way. Me and many other psychiatrists would react the same way, not to shame the patient. Furthermore, let's say we say, okay, I'm going to transfer you to someone else. Now, is that other person going to take the patient's insurance? Are they going to have the same rapport with the patient?
Also, just something I've been really thinking about since we covered this. Kendra says, like, she finally built up the courage to walk away from him. But then in the same breath is like, I had to walk away from him because my insurance wasn't going to cover it anymore and I would have to pay to see him. You didn't have the courage to walk away. You couldn't afford to see him anymore.
If the patient is struggling and now in the interim of trying to transfer them on to another psychiatrist, the patient decompensates and now you're in the wrong. The patient was saying that the psychiatrist was hot and cold. He was warming and like he was kind of grooming me to start doing this type of stuff. Well, are you really? Imagine if the psychiatrist was just pure cold, poor clinical, then the patient would say that, okay, this psychiatrist was a complete ass. In psychiatry, I have to know how to balance between being warm, empathetic, friendly.
God, this is so exhausting. Oh my God. They should not have to deal with this on top of what they're already dealing with.
Creating a good connection with the patient, but at the same time, also being clinical, logical, and more.
I think it's common for people to fall in love with the idea or their therapist, psychiatrist. The problem is not only because, again, it's a good point. You can fall in love with these people. It makes sense. They are providing a sense of comfort, safety, hearing you, whatever. It's very common. And actually, I've been doing a lot of deep diving into the concept of this, and it is outrageously common. The problem is she was sexually harassing him, telling him that she was having sex dreams about him, and then blaming him for the fact that he would sleep with her in her sleep. She would follow him. She would stalk him. That's just the difference here.
Detached, because that's why patients are coming to me for my expertise. They're not coming to me to be their friend.
Yeah.
They're coming to me to be their psychiatrist, to give them that clinical expertise that I spent 4 years in medical school, 5 years in residency and fellowship learning about.
Imagine, by the way, this psychiatrist, the one that Kendra was harassing, going through all of that training and all of that work just to be blasted on social media in this viral story where he's completely in the right. By the way, thank God people are seeing it, and I hope he's feeling that.
Second question I've gotten is, does this patient have borderline personality disorder, BPD? Now, I don't know the patient. I can't really comment on the patient, but something I can comment on is the fear of abandonment. So BPD patients, they have a big fear of abandonment. It really harms their lack of self-image that they have. They don't have a strong self-identity. So that fear of abandonment.
She wanted everything from him, and someone just said, and he was just trying to do his job.
It really is harmful to them. So that's why BPD patients will always or often overreact in breakups. So a common thing that can happen is that a BPD patient will do things to precipitate the breakup or do it themselves first. So that way they're not the ones being abandoned, but rather they're doing it. So we see in this case that the patient terminated the relationship. Now put the patient on. Again,
it's important to note that she didn't terminate the relationship. It wasn't covered anymore. She wasn't going to be getting it anymore.
Or put the psychiatrist on social media, which is a third topic, clout chasing. So
Woo!
This isn't some random patient by any means. This is someone who is already a content creator.
Which also would be a very easy defamation win because she was promoting her clientees, ADHDers, as she was calling it, the entire time. A diagnosed clout chaser. He could argue that she was doing this to promote her own therapy.
Had some online business that she got revenue from content creation. So now she starts this series that is causing her
not a life coach.
Instant fame. Huge attention to her page. Her account's blown up. So is she going to be incentivized to stop this behavior and say, no, this is unprofessional, I'm not going to do this? Or is she going to be incentivized to continue this behavior because now she's getting more traffic, more fame, more news recognition, more recognition for her business, more clout? So it's pretty obvious that there is an element of clout chasing here that's going on. And that's why someone who's truly upset about this, they're not going around spouting out their traumas. They handle them very privately, just like patients who are traumatized. If they've been abused or things, right? They want to handle that privately in a discreet space.
Well, I think I have to disagree with that point because, again, I spoke about situations I went through publicly. But what I am saying is she was actively promoting her own brand and her own therapy and her style of doing it throughout calling him out, which literally was her being like promoting herself throughout talking about her trauma.
But if they want attention and fame from it, then they go out and blast it. So that's why she's made part 18, part 17, because she's seen
and also the fact she's like grifting off of it on live streams as well. Yes,
attention that this is getting,
where you have to pay to comment
as well too. And as a social media content creator, I understand. Like I see that part of the game. All fame, almost a lot of the time, is good fame. So that part of her motivation should not be neglected either.
True.
Now, do I think this is a person who needs help? I mean, absolutely. And
he said, well, yes.
I hope that they get the help that they ultimately need, because clearly they were seeing a psychiatrist, they were seeing a therapist. They had a ChatGPT therapist named Henry. So, I mean, that tells you a lot of what's going on in that person's psyche.
Gag it.
But more importantly, I hope that, this person, this psychiatrist, if you're watching this, bro, I hope that you are okay and you can weather the storm that's happening. I don't think you did anything. And I hope that this does not affect your career.
I think that's also something we need to be taking into consideration, which is that this doesn't affect his career moving forward just because she is unable to regulate her emotions.
The ability for you to help out other patients in the future.
And again, I wonder if we're ever going to get a response from the psychiatrist, considering that he is so kind of known now because of being doxxed. It makes me really sad for him, but obviously she knew that he was going to see this. She knew as well that this was going to affect him. This was obviously done out of spite. You just can't ration with a person like this. And also, clout is one hell of a drug. He couldn't because of HIPAA. No, I mean suing. I mean like suing, speaking out with like a lawsuit. I don't mean him making a 17-part TikTok series. I mean him responding with a defamation lawsuit. Not him doing a TikTok series, please. He's a professional. But it'll be very interesting to see. And I hope he does, because she should, specifically with her scammy life coaching as well. And I'll be covering that. But we'll leave it there for now.